Oh, who was first? Who was first? Put your name out. Let me see. Let me see. Who was first? It's too late to go and argue. Who's second? Oh, I have to turn my mute off. Oops. Sorry. Apologies. Okay, first. Very good, Lauren. We're very good. Are you a regular with a different account, or are you a new person, Lauren? Hi, Christina. Were you in the stream last night, Christina? You were in that. Am I right in saying you were in that live stream where Freddy was making claims about me working with Net Truth on Washam's channel? Does it sound okay? Wow, I got a thumbs up instead of a thumbs down for a change. Woohoo! Hey, Flo. Well, just let a couple of more people just roll in here, and I'll get underway with what my main purpose is. I'm not making a video about it, because it would just be the exact same thing. It would be me talking into Hangout and saying what I've got to say, except nobody else would be in the chat. So I thought just do it like this. So okay, last night I did a stream last night. Got a little bit off track, but that's okay. Few things said, few things left unsaid. But one of the things that I said in the stream last night was to do with OG Wan Kenobi personally, and I got it wrong. When I went back and looked over the chat log of where I saw the statement that FKN Freddy had made about me working with Net for Truth, OG1 had posted directly after him, and then like 30 seconds again after him. And I think it was the lull, the spelling make or something, that I got it mixed up. I thought it was part of it anyway. But OG actually didn't say that himself. It was FKN that said that. So I felt that it was necessary to come on here and make an apology to OG for that claim, and I suppose in the future, you know, I should pay more attention and a bit more due diligence to what I'm looking at. It was also, whenever I watched this thing, I watched it on the iPhone. So you've got a wee small area of chat, you know, and rather than looking at the big ass computer screen, you know. So, but that doesn't justify me making the claim about OG Wan Kenobi. So it doesn't really justify it. I'm not really trying to make excuses either. But I did get it wrong. He did not say it. It was OG One that said it. However, I did point out to OG in a comment section of last night's stream after he left a comment there that you know, he didn't tell him. He didn't you know, say, "Whoa, hang on a minute." You know, that's bullshit. You know, in the light of the day, regardless of what you feel about people, call a spade, and at least try and remain honest to yourself about it. If you can't be honest with everyone else, and I'm not talking about deliberately trying to deceive anybody. When I say that, folks, I'm just saying, you know, sometimes we end up deceiving people that we don't mean to, or whatever, to make a point. And that's kind of what happened last night. It is obviously an emotional topic out there when people are accusing you of working with filthy fuckers like that cunt, that for truth. It's one of those things that I believe it would get anybody's back up. So I'd like to apologize about that. So, OG, my apologies go to you. You were right, and I was wrong. You did not actually say it. It was only FKN Freddy that said it. It would have been nice though if you had, defended the truth of the matter and said, "Well, hold on a minute, Freddy, it's not true." Because now I've got Sippy Cup Betty running about repeating that crap. You know, and it's that type of little bit of warfare that Freddy likes to impose on people. He drops little, bombs that, especially over the topic that it is to people. Well, Christine, you tell me, why would Freddy say that? He said it. It's on Washington's video. It's on the one. It's dated the 14th of November. And it's called something about you don't have my permission to use this. And the timestamp on it is 1 hour and 41 minutes. Or just put in 1 hour 40 and watch it there forward, and you will see it. You will see Freddy making the claim that I'm working with Not for Truth. I did explain it a wee bit more in my reply comment to OG Wan Kenobi in my comment sections of last night's stream. So I don't understand why people would run about talking about crap like that there, but I'm not working with them. I would like to think that would be obvious to people. But in this game, you've got people like Sippy Cup Betty just waiting to pounce on information like that there. And she's running about repeating it. So it's quite concerning. But at the end of the day, as people kept on telling me, it's only YouTube, it's not real life, it doesn't matter. Well, I feel a wee bit differently about that there. People keep on trying to tell me YouTube's a bad place, that it's we all need to get off it, that we shouldn't be here. I think differently of YouTube. I think YouTube actually has a lot more positives than negatives to it. It's just that there's a particular circle of people involved in this part of the community that are causing serious, well, not serious, but they're just causing little conflicts everywhere that leads on to something else, that leads on to something else. So, yes, I started this stream with the intention to apologize with OG. I apologize to OG. I did get it wrong. I hope you'll accept my apology. I know it doesn't mean much to you because it's coming from me. But at the end of the day, let the record show. Is that what they say in the American LA law and stuff like that? I don't know. So there's that part taken care of. I noticed last night while I was on the stream here that the stat would be going. Well, not this stream. I was on my other stream last night. The stat would be going on with FKN Freddy, and that he would be dropping a few bombshells. I haven't actually watched all the video. I fell asleep through it, so I think I watched like the first 20 minutes and fell asleep. But I will try and get watching it. I see the stat has it up in his channel, so I'll try and get watching it there. Again, I mean, Lestat makes content. You know, I don't really follow him or anything like that there, but you know, 500 subs. He's clearly a smart guy, and yet he's having to go to FKN Freddy to get his word out, which is ironic. You know, the irony of all that is lost to me. So yeah, here we go. You know, so last night the stream goes out. Before that stream had gone out, we're still waiting on part three of the stats little 10-piece compilation on how he's going to expose YouTube. Well, Laz, you're right. You're right. But I've concluded what I need to talk about when it comes to OG. I've concluded what I need to talk about when it comes to other people, except one, and that's FKN Freddy. And FKN Freddy will see me constantly in his rearview mirror every time he looks at it. You know, I once joked and called him a gatekeeper. I'm not saying he's officially a gatekeeper. But Freddy likes to go around and collect people, as I've stated before. He likes to go around all the sides in the YouTube community, the truth community, whatever you want to call it, comedy community. He likes to go around all the sides and pick up people, develop a close enough link with them where he can speak to them comfortably on Hangouts or Discord. And he has that network throughout this community where he's able to call on people. You know, he gets them into their trusts, and then he gets information that he may need or may not need. And he ends up holding a lot of keys to many doors, does FKN Freddy. It's interesting to see Canada hanging out with him so much. A guy who was such a lone wolf, who didn't get involved with other channels. But so it's interesting to see him always sniffing around. But he's not really a concern of mine either, because he's small fry. Freddy's bigger than him. Freddy is now bigger than the sheriff of YouTube, folks. Freddy plays a bigger role. if you're going to start slagging each other off, try and keep it nice. Argue nicely with each other. So, does nobody else think it was a bit weird that out of the blue, that ends up on, of all people, FKN Freddy's song? Nobody think that's a bit, you know? Does nobody else kind of have an opinion on what they see happening with this? These Lestat revelations, and is there any truth in it? Now, I'm quite sure if I was to hand Lestat an invitation to come on here, he wouldn't do it. Maybe he would, but I'm not really interested in him. You see, if there's a lot of money to be made out of YouTube by manipulating people as well as putting out a certain message, I would have to say, you know, of course there would be a group of people. Okay, folks, sorry about that. Back again. I had a little bit of a blonde moment there. Well, I used to be blonde, you know. I end up hitting the mute button instead of hitting turn camera off. So apologies for my little moment of madness. So where did it get to? Where did you hear me talking to? Can anybody figure out what the last what you heard me talking about? Okay, folks, right. I'll try and get back to where I think we were, or I was before the sound. I turned the freaking sound off myself by accident instead of the camera, so that
my little avatar comes up because I know how people like avatars. So there, without doubt, there is a network on YouTube. You know, you can partner up in YouTube, and then there's other places, Freedom Network, etc., like that. There, um, you can get involved with. But I don't believe a lot of channels within the truth community are involved in that. Maybe they are, but certainly the MCNs that I kind of see is, all these wee channels working together to create content. Now, I'm not saying that they work together all the time. I'm not saying they're in a secret society network or some crap like that. There, I'm just calling it MCN because that's what they're doing. They're networking. For all intents and purposes, you could have said me, Freddy, OG, Wake, we're networking. We were an MCN because we were sharing a Discord. We were sharing information with each other about what we had found out about some of these people and groups and stuff within Discord. So you could have said we were an MCN. Although obviously there was no money part taken hands, the only main goal was to highlight these channels as frauds. And that's something that I will continue to do. I have my good days and my bad days, health wise. I just woke up after sleeping for like 5 hours in the afternoon, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that doesn't really do. It's not really my flow, but it is what it is. I can't control it. So, but in between times, I will be still looking at the channels that, should I say, confuse me the most and trying to point out a few things that I find. I will make videos on them. It won't just be me talking on a live stream all the time. But all of a sudden, the Cicada network has broken down. And, in the background, this has been going on for some time. So he discovered, sorry, that's me reading you. Last, the whole Cicada thing has been breaking down. Everybody knows Cicada is about puzzles, and I came across Cicada long before I came across anything in the truth community about it. The whole spirit destiny stuff. Lestat was still kind of telling us a story about that last night. I didn't catch it all. As I said, I fell asleep. Wasn't exactly exhilarating. So the Cicada that I come across was the one with the first puzzle way back when, and I didn't come across it during the puzzle. I came across it after it because it had gained a bit of momentum and become a bit of a story, a bit of a myth, folklore, whatever you want to call it, within the internet itself, and certainly gained some notoriety from it. Apparently, they did recruit a few people. Those people, I don't know how involved they ever got or anything like that there, because as you know, Cicada kind of comes in as quietly as it goes out, and there doesn't seem to be anything in between. or sorry, once it's finished, the puzzle, they finish until the next one appears. So whenever I came across Canada, or not sorry, Canada, for fuck's sake, the Fango. Whenever I come across the Fango and the Spear of Destiny stuff that he was doing, I came across that through Jason Goodman and George Webb, and that was during Spoof the Seth Rich Files, and during that time, there was a bit of tomfoolery going on there, all to deceive and all to, get the truth community talking. And a lot of channels were getting involved in it. Tracy Baines, she got in on that there as well. She was quite reporting on it. I know what. Well, you're right, Laz. Exact. To an extent, I would say he doesn't really give a crap about Cicada, and all he's looking to do is, Freddy's been wronged by quite a few channels in his eyes, or certainly that's how it was. That's how you would perceive it if it's not a LARP. So I come across the whole Cicada thing through Jason Goodman and George Webb whenever they were doing their whole Seth Rich thing with Trish the Dish. Don't see her about too often these days. Don't know what happened to her. So, and it was during that there that Jason Goodwin used the Fango solving a puzzle of cicadas to, show just how brilliant this guy was. As I said, he came in to the Goodman off that reputation. I felt anyway, it was he was being shown as a person who was of high intellect, could solve puzzles, good computer skills, etc., etc. A white hat, is that it? Was he a white hat, a black hat, whatever the hell they were calling themselves? But over this whole Seth Rich thing, Files, and it's important to remember all this, by the way. It's important to remember this. Trish the Dish was the one who originally went and collected the files. And I believe in right in saying that she collected the files from a guy called Rabbit. White Rabbit. I'm not 100% sure if it was just Rabbit or White Rabbit. I've got a feeling it was White Rabbit. I want to say White Rabbit. And the stat was talking about the White Rabbit last night. And for those who were following the George Webb, Goodman, the Fango, who spoofed the Seth Rich Files back then, you will remember that the White Rabbit was outed and doxxed as Intel Valor. That is and he had a wee channel on the go. I can remember him going down and meeting a girl or a lady, should I say. And then his channel just kind of dwindled off and he started working on the background. He's ex-military and again, another smart guy. I don't know how smart, but he certainly come across as smart enough. Seemed to know what he was talking about, It was either well rehearsed or he actually had experience of talking about what he was talking about. So the stats talking about the White Rabbit last night as a big player. And I just wanted to remind people of how the rabbit was named as before. And because that's like 2 years ago now, I think. Is it must be 2 years ago or a year and a half ago or something like that there. It was before even Unirock started his stuff. Or before he started doing all his live stream stuff. So I just felt that that's something that needs to be dropped in there, that people need to actually, whenever they start hearing the neon white rabbit coming out, that that's a piece of information that should be put in people's heads to, you know, mull over and see if you can find anything about. At the time, I can remember there being claims he was doxxed, etc. I never saw the docs myself. I never go looking for people's doxes. I'm not interested in that. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. Uh, because when you dox people, folks, they've got family, they've got children, and regardless of what, well, I kind of feel that if you get to a point where you have to dox somebody to get the better of them, then YouTube has beaten you. You have been, beaten. You've been reduced to stooping to the lowest of the low. That's my opinion on that. And I feel like the truth community has been turned into a bit of Game of Thrones recently. I see the fan goes live. I got a notification there. Defango is one person that I have not come out and spoke ill of as of yet. I mentioned that last night. There's a reason for that. When I saw so many people attacking him, when I saw the people attacking him, even back in May and June, and China the 3 was going after him all the time, I had suspicions about people, even though I was around them. Sometimes you freaking curiosity gets the better of you. But I kind of, again, getting back to what I touched on last night, we all await a part 3, and I feel that this 10-part series that the stat is putting out is nothing more than a game of show and tell. You show me yours, and I'll show you mine, and we all will react accordingly. And when the word gets out, and enough people are starting to, notice this whole Lestat versus Cicada and all this stuff, you'll see it start to ramp up a bit more. Obviously, you can never be 100% sure on people on YouTube. I mean, how can you? It's not possible. But you can 100% trust me, folks. But anyway, listen, you can never be 100% sure about anybody, right? But this whole thing about the Fango and child porn, I am not buying it. And as I said last night, if the stat has any type of evidence of the Fango being involved with that, he should take himself straight to the police station, hand that over, and stop talking about it. Then, you don't go onto YouTube and start making drama, folks. That's just a little bit out there. So, I don't have much faith or belief in this Lestat Cicada thing. I think it may just be a distraction, a LARP, somebody with a grudge, whatever it is, trying to cause a bit of mayhem. And considering what Freddy has been involved with the last couple of months, he seems like the obvious person who you would go to, wouldn't it, to pull something off like this here. And it just all is a bit convenient. When we started doing the whole, getting involved with each other. This Freddy set up a Discord. We all joined it. We'd made a few videos about Dave T, Gunk, a few videos about the All Stars, etc. Like that there. And I seen things going a different way then. The direction seemed to be going to multiple stories on YouTube, like the GDL movement and the against the GDL movement. Crap like that, and not a lot of attention was being put onto the bigger stuff that was going on. Like copy and all the rest of it. Sure, people talked about it, but there wasn't much said about it really. I was a bit surprised about that there. My health is the reason why I backed off from a lot of stuff. It wasn't because I wanted to, it was because my health was preventing me from being able to put a lot of time in this that I felt I needed. I did actually make several videos that I ended up not putting up because I didn't feel they were good enough. At the end of the day, whenever I sat and rewatched them, I always can't trying to give myself a bit of time after I make a video, watch it, leave it for a bit of time, and go back and watch it again and see if it fits the way I thought it fitted the very first time. And sometimes it don't. Sometimes you can see where you messed it up, So I kind of feel that this whole Lestat thing, I think it's nonsense. I think it's just a distraction. And back to my original, what I'm kind of thinking about all of this is simple. In the truth community, in fact, all these wee communities throughout YouTube where conspiracy is involved, we've watched it make a huge change. Hang on here, just reading something here. Just had words with threats regarding the despicable behaviour on Scoop String. Treat said he wasn't swearing at Scoop. He's been an asshat, so we banned him. Danny. Simple as that. In fact, Treats was never even subbed to my channel. He only subbed to my channel a few days ago. He subs and unsubs all the time. By the look of it, because every time I get a notification that I have a new subscriber, it seems they end up being Treats all the time. Or Threats. I don't know. Anyway, all these little pockets in the conspiracy, the UFOs, that is a huge money maker. Instead of looking at the little LARPing pocket over here, go and have a look at what goes on amongst the, Graham Hancock, the UFOs, Nibiru, and all this stuff that's going on, and have a look how much money that generates. And then have a look at end of world, revelations. What's the guy called? Jason somebody? He's always doing these videos about we're near the end and whatnot. His videos get crazy views, and I would say that is quite a money generator. In fact, the topic is quite a money generator because people are fascinated with doom and gloom, folks. So, this little side of YouTube that we've got all seem to have got involved with isn't really a conspiracy setup and like that there. It's citizen journalism. And I don't know, I don't know the fuck, I'm going to stop looking at the comments because it's distracting me. What was I? Fucking hell. You've no idea. Seeing I don't get something out, I need to say it these days. It just disappears. Fucking hell. Right, the whole money making and getting to this corner of YouTube, the citizen journalism doesn't generate any money compared to the UFO stuff or even the flat earth stuff. And these other subjects that do well. You know, even the some of these fake, fraudulent, born again Christian channels, some of them, are making quite a bit of money off YouTube and whatnot, and it's very popular. That kind of category is quite popular to be for people to be involved with. The Mandela effect, you know, they're generating money, but they're not generating a lot of money. And I don't know if its main goal is actually to make money or to put misinformation, like an agenda of its own in there to try and calm people into freaking for something bigger in the future. But in that group of people, there's a lot of channels working together there in the background, and they're all promoting this. They all seem to end up promoting this oneness, this hive consciousness. You know, it seems to be the way they want everybody to go down. You know, and that they'll claim to be Christian, but they'll talk about Reiki. You know, they'll talk about all that Hindi crap. And they work together in the background. It's just that's what they do. But we have this side with Titus Frost and the All Stars and Lift the Veil, and these people all seem to be. I would just call them like citizen journalists. That's all you could call them. But they're not very good at it, and it doesn't really generate a lot of money, apart from the fact when LARPs begin, like Q has made serious amount of money. Serious amount of money. In fact, as I was pointing out last night, you have Sippy Cup Betty, jumping on that bandwagon, and she's quite blatantly obvious what her goal is on YouTube, and that's to make money. So she's jumping on that bandwagon, even though she claims to be a truther. And all this crap, she's actually going to be end up doing more harm. Hey, Kickstand. Q has ended up generating a lot of money, and there's been claims that Cicada started it, Cicada were behind it, Defango, all this stuff. Defango said he was the one that started it. I don't know. I don't really care either. And do I think Defango has benefited it as much as anybody else off it? No. I don't know. I used to watch Defango a few years ago. Like whenever this George Spiff the Files begun, and he found the Spirit of Destiny and all that nonsense. Now I don't know. Did people really believe that was the Spirit of Destiny at the time? Because I certainly didn't. Come on. Such a relic would not end up in the Arizona desert, folks. In Defango's hand, no matter how nice the guy is or what his intention is, it just would not end up there, folks. But it was what it was, and all these little things that people did to generate interest generated a bit of money for them, and the citizen journalists, I believe, have went big time, seen how money can be made, and are going about showing basically in a way to try and make it. And I believe this Lestat thing is the exact same thing. as everything else has been. It's A, try and get rid of a few people that they maybe don't want around the place. B, generate interest, introduce some new characters. I mean, we've had new characters introduced recently, and I believe there'll be some more characters introduced from this. And maybe there's a personal grudge there. But meanwhile, I think the actual true network behind these people is hidden. Because, as smart as some of these guys are, Lift the Veil claims he got 100% on the ST, whatever, some exam, what do they call it, SATs or something like that there. They're banging away in the Fango stream now. Is that to generate views or what the hell's it for? Who knows? I think the real people that are running YouTube in a direction, or these channels in a particular direction, are professional people. I believe that there is, I could be wrong, but I believe there's writers involved, there's, plots involved, people who are writing plots out. Whenever they come up with their names for their channels and things like that, it's deliberately done to mix in with all this gematria crap. I mean, there is clever people behind this, folks, and they work to make things tie in together to show confusion. So you get into a channel, you start enjoying them, you're liking all the work, and then all of a sudden somebody like, let's say, Johnny Super Trump comes along after not being about for a wee while. He comes along and he starts talking gematria, and he starts telling everybody how, Lift the Veils adds up to this and adds up to that, and whatnot. I find that interesting that it happens, and I believe that's set up purposely to do that. It's, it's all part of the plot, and the aim of the plot is to suck everybody in and get their money. Because I mean, as a TV, if it was on a television network, they would sell the show to the network. There would be a pilot, and then the show, deciding on how they felt that the network felt it would do. The show would get a couple of seasons, or maybe just one season, and see how it goes, or something like that. There, things like that. There. Well, YouTube, I think, is kind of along the same line. To throw an idea out there to see what way it's going to go, and if it looks like it's going to go somewhere, they'll go all in with it. In one of these emails that the stat shows, you've got Lift the Veil saying thanks for getting me the interview. I believe it was to Thomas. I don't know. Are those emails real? I mean, anybody with a bit of know-how, can they not be faked? Unless you're going to show everybody. Well, give somebody independently. Give somebody the metadata to check it all out. To show that it's real. You're just going to be sitting here like, I don't know if it's real, or is it being set up like that? Is it being made to look like this? I mean, if it wasn't being made to look like this, if this wasn't an organized plot, why has the stat held back? Why is he held back with his claims? Why is he playing, show and tell with Cicada? But I feel that there is people involved that they direct channels. If you sign up for them, I believe, what do you call them? Deluxe was offered a contract, which apparently he didn't take because he wanted to go the same. He wanted to keep creative control of his channel, and apparently being involved with this, you wouldn't. Now, if that's what's happening with these guys, that they give their creative control over in order to get money. So, you're not going to be seeing our content. You're going to be seeing a plot that mixes in with other channels. You've got this copy thing. Whenever it started in the vegan Mikey, you had the obvious side set up to be against it, to come out against them, and then you had the side set up to be for it. And it's kind of like to test the waters to see what way it's running, what way the LARP is running, or the plot is running. And if it's doing really well, they might not attack it as much. Maybe channels like Unirock will drop off and not attack it like they had been. If it's doing poorly, maybe they'll attack it all the more. Who knows? I don't. Now, I'd said Unirock. I'm not saying Unirock is, part of this. All I'm saying is, he's a person who goes around, does these deep dives. He's made a point of talking about Q, talking about Maggie, Cappy, and Fiona Barnett. Things like this here. He's came out and did all this stuff kind of against Lift the Veil, whereas not too long before that there, he was with Lift the Veil. You would see Lift the Veil, Defango, and Unirock all tight together. In and out each other's streams, playing games together, and things like that there. And that all quickly changed. There was a big fallout. Unirock fell out with Lift the Veil, and then Defango went after Unirock, and he had this whole Q thing, etc. The hoodie on. He had that on, sending a little message out. And it gets to the point, folks, that you have to start looking at this and saying, this has to be scripted. Now, I'm not saying they're reading off a script. I don't mean that. But this has to be the actions that these channels are taking. It has to be scripted. I mean, when you look over the past summer here, what would Lift the Veil talked about if there wasn't an Izzy Cappy or a vegan Maggie or a Voodoo Donuts going on? What would he have talked about? Nothing. And then once in a blue moon, a real topic will come up. Something like that limousine crash, and they'll make that into a huge conspiracy. You could make anything sound like a conspiracy. You could, look, at the end of the day, if you got freaking 18 people shoved in the back of a limousine and it's driving at 30 miles an hour, even, and has a crash, 30 miles an hour is enough to cause fatality, folks. 20 miles an hour is enough to cause freaking, possible fatality and, serious injuries, such as brain injuries and stuff like that there. So if you got all these people rattling around the inside of a tin can, it's going to be bad. It's going to be a bad outcome. And of course, people are like, well, where's all the blood? Really? That's your, you want to see the blood, folks? Come on. I don't know. I never followed into it big time, but I listened to what Lift the Veil had to say about it all, and it's a joke, and other when you look at Lift the Veil and the people that he brings on to his show as guests, Um, they always have channels. Basically, if I'm always really gutted if Lift the Veil brings on somebody to the show that I actually like, because that means, oh man, this guy is either an unknown participant or he's now involved in a plot. And, it really does not take a lot of, it doesn't take 30 people to sit and come up with all this crap. It just takes, some uh, experienced, you know, not actors, writers that have been involved in maybe movies or soap series, like the TV series in America, and so like some of those daft TV day soaps that you would see. Like I can't even think of any because I'm watching, but the crazy soaps where somebody goes into a coma for 10 years and they wake up just as they're about to turn it off, all that stuff, you know. But I mean, 3 or 4 guys putting their heads together could come up with a really half decent plot, and I think that's what's going on. Somebody is coming together with a plot, they're putting it all out, and if you're in the circle, you'll be evolved, and if you're not, you won't. Now, I always find it really interesting, like because I did a phone call with Lift the Veil, where I, you know, had a bit of a go at him about him talking about celebrities in Hollywood and the whole pedophilia stuff, but he wouldn't talk about the pedophiles that are running rampant on YouTube. And his response was to tell me that I was trying to ruin a guy's life. Wow. But, you know, he wasn't prepared for that. I don't know I don't know what was going through this guy's mind whenever he actually took my phone call. Because um, he got hit with some real questions, etc., and a real person putting it at him. So it wasn't there to stroke his ego or anything like that there. And he was absolutely dumbfounded and didn't know what to talk about. Didn't know how to. He couldn't recollect himself. And I found that quite interesting about him that he wasn't able to do that because I thought he was. I always thought he was a pretty cool customer, and I was surprised to see how much that he buckled during that phone call with me. I'm just an ordinary guy trying to make sense of the world. That's all. But Lift the Veil, he's got a high IQ. He got a perfect score on his SATs. He interacts with people on a regular basis and with through his citizen journalism, etc., etc. Um, so I feel there's a network. The network is there that they take turns at falling out with each other. There's no problem. It's all part and parcel. Because 6 months from now, you can bet your money that Lift the Veil and these other characters that are not friendly now will all be friendly. Or maybe the first person that this Lestat thing that really gets hit with any type of allegation that's like jaw dropping is the Fango. And that would tell you that the plot is get rid of the Fango. And I'm sorry, but I don't know the Fango personally. I've watched some of his stuff over the years. I paid a lot more attention a few years ago than I do ever now. I'm not sure what his intent is or what his part in the whole LARP is, But I don't believe for a second that that guy is involved with child porn. I just don't. And the fact that he's became this immediate name with the biggest allegation thrown at him, and it's such an it's children, folks. That is the type of thing that should ruin somebody. But as we've seen over the past couple of months, it's not always the case because net for truth, it came out about him, and that guy has gained 9,000 subscribers in a couple of months, 3 months. Now, people are going to say, well, that's because you idiots won't talk, you lot won't shut up about him. Well, look, my viewers and my reach on YouTube isn't that big. There's plenty of people haven't even got a clue who I am. They've never heard of me before. There's even people that don't know Freddy. Believe it or not, never seen it before. So, you get thrown at you that, well, if you're going to talk about them, of course they're going to generate interest. And then if you don't talk about them, you get, why are you protecting these guys? So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And I always feel you're better off going down the road that you feel is the right road, and forget what anybody, forget about which way you're going to be damned. You're better off just going down the road that you feel is the right way and you're more comfortable with. Eases, sits, and you can still sleep at night. So, and this corner of YouTube, they have shown they have no morals, they have no scruples. They will LARP over anything and everything. I mean, how does Lift the Veil, live with his father, do a show in a garage? He says he lives in a garage. It's like his living room and stuff for that sofa and all that, and behind the background. I don't know if he sleeps there, but I don't know. But I'm saying myself, this is what I've known now. I remember originally when he first put his channel up, Lift the Veil, he was living in an apartment. And then I believe he ended up with moving in with his dad. But he's been there with his dad for a long time. And you're asking yourself, well, if a guy doesn't work, he doesn't have a full-time job. He's recently got married. I'm sure his wife doesn't want to live in a garage for the next 50 years or however long they end up together. That's if even they are married. Because, her holiday visa as such would be coming to an end. It would have been over, actually. 90 days were up long ago. And she would be having to apply for, to get a green card. Be interesting to see how that goes. But he's in his garage. He's not working for a full-time job anywhere that we know as, and he's got a history of telling us all that he used to sell cars, and not just a bog standard Ford, folks, but this guy sold luxury cars. So you're then talking about money, commission fees and things like that there that he would get, which would be substantial. If you were selling a few cars a week, you'd be earning good dough. And I don't know how you go from that to living in your dad's garage, doing videos on YouTube, doing an hour live stream or something like that there, and other stuff. Somebody has to be paying him somewhere. Has the garage become part of the LARP now? Does he even live there anymore? Is he living somewhere else and he does a show in the garage? Who knows? You don't know what the hell's going on. Has his dad moved out? You don't know, but these people don't seem to, they're making money. They don't have full-time jobs. I've never heard or seen some of these characters ever talking about work. And I haven't even seen some of them talk about relationships with anybody. And they've been about YouTube for a long time as a character, as an avatar, whatever the hell you want to call them. They've been here and they've been involved in many, many dramas. And, whenever the videos, I talked about this previously in another stream. Whenever the monetization went out the window, quality of truth went out the window with it. The quality of people's videos went out the window. And, then Trump came into power at the same time. And before Trump, I mean, Obama was always getting his feet held to the fire. Always. On YouTube, there was always a channel having to go at him about maybe this policy or that policy, or a channel having a go at him, about the wife looking like a man, etc. Whatever it was, there was always something going on. So there's always something going on there, with Obama, but with Trump, I don't see that same. I don't see that same thing there. And these channels are not Trumpers. Um, they're not Trumpers. They weren't for Trump. They mocked Trump during the election. And now that he's voted in, yet they're not having a go at him. It's not part of the plot to have a go at Trump and constantly hold the fire at his feet like they did Obama's. So why is that? Why is that? Are the people behind that are running these channels, the creative control of these channels completely, are they doing this deliberately? Are they keeping this out of it deliberately? And you would have to say yes, because it certainly doesn't feel organic anymore. It doesn't seem to be a natural flow. It just seems to be a channel comes out with drama and everybody then jumps on it. And any real research ends up taking months and months to do. And by the end of it, by the time the likes of, Lift the Veil finally comes to a conclusion, the whole ridiculousness of the LARP is apparent. And at the same time, these people are not seeming to be losing credibility. While they've made a lot of money. And there is people who maybe aren't involved, who are pissed off at what the truth community, well, it's not maybe, there is people out there. I'm pissed off at what's happened with the truth community. I look at some of the channels around now and I can't believe, the quality is pathetic. You just wouldn't have seen them 4 years ago. You wouldn't have seen this crap to the extent that we see now. I mean, there's no way channels like freaking Sippy Cup would have had 4,000 freaking subs. Just wouldn't have happened, folks. But then you can buy them nowadays, so. And I feel that this whole stat cicada thing could be one or two things. It could be actually real. It could be a genuine beef coming to light and being used as a plot to start a freaking YouTube war or not. or B, that, this is all being pre-planned, and this is all freaking a plot that's been accepted by multiple channels to go down, whether they like it or not. They're going to be involved. Um, Again, I'll bring it back to the Fango. Why is he the focus of the attention? Why is he being hit the most with such gains? And considering we've seen the popularity of a pedophile on YouTube increase and, go against the absolute grain of what we thought would happen, what we believed would happen, going against that absolute grain and grown to the extent, they're now bigger than a lot of the other channels in this community. And, you kind of say to yourself, why is the Fango being singled out with such an allegation? Is it to take his channel down? Or is it to bring views his way and to bring growth to his channel? Because believe you me, his channel will grow from this. Should it be negative not? We've seen this happen with Net for Truth. We've seen it happen. People are prepared to believe that Net for Truth was framed by the government rather than believe that the guy did what he did. Because all of us that come in here believe in conspiracy theories. Maybe don't believe them all, but we do believe in we do all enjoy a good conspiracy. We all like it. So, the Fangos had a bit of a bad time about a year ago. His channel just kind of went to the wall. People dropped him. His his viewerships. If you go in now, there's very few people in there that were there 2 years ago. Very few. Not saying they're all gone, but there's quite a few gone. I certainly don't recognize a lot of the ones that I recognize from back then now. And if we have seen that Net for Truth can grow his channel that exceeds, all expectations or reason on such a sickening, horrible topic, then is it absolutely preposterous to believe or not believe that plots would be put about in such a way to recreate that again? Ask yourself that, folks. Would people, would they do this again, only used in a plot to see if they can recreate the same attention, the same growth? I mean, Net for Truth's made a lot of money, folks. He's made a lot of money. Don't think that he hasn't. He has. Sickens me. But what can you do? Hi, Lady Court. Yeah, don't worry about it, Court. I'm a bit lost as well, so. So there's something to it. Strangely enough, I'm a skeptic. I really am skeptical about what I'm starting to see on here and how actually well orchestrated it actually is, and the lengths that maybe people will go to or let themselves go to in order to, gain viewers and larp some money. And this is the really sad part about all this now. It's got to such an extent that if something is real, it's becoming indistinguishable from the LARP. You know, that's it all. That's kind of what I'm looking to do on here is try to make sense of. I'm wanting to find a pattern. No, Laz, you're not blocked. If you're not able to see somebody in my live stream or see comments from somebody that somebody else can, it's because that person has either got you blocked or you've got them blocked. One of the two, but you're not blocked off my live stream. This whole shadow banning crap too. Sorry, what part, lady? It's not that I'm saying it's getting hard. They seem to be following in the same patterns now. It all seems to be following. Yes, I know what you're. I do get what you mean there. I am getting your point, lady, about that comment now. Penny's dropping. Yes, I get the point what you said there. Yes, you can distinguish, but what I'm saying is, well, I guess the point I was making was the they all seem to be running like a similar way now. That I I doubt that there's any real truth in any of them anymore. I don't think freaking. Well, there's nothing showing up on my screen, Laz, that your comments have been deleted. Um, the only one that I can see on the thing is a message retracted and a link that was held for review by me. So, no, Laz, you're here. There's nothing. Nobody's retracting you. But what all this crap has ended up doing, right, is a lot of people in this room now, in fact, near enough all of yous, are awake enough. You've all got your own pair of eyes, and you've all got your own ears, and you see and hear things very similar to I see and hear them, and energies are spent trying to bring things into light, and it's going round and round in circles. And then you've got the likes of Freddy telling us how it's a waste of time. Everybody needs to get off YouTube. This is terrible. Go outside and enjoy life again. Yada, yada, yada. And I like to say yada, yada, yada because I know it will annoy some people, by the way. It's all purposely done. So, you have that whole thing of get us off YouTube, the people that are awake. And all these money generating topics of whatever the hell you want to call them are being perpetrated by, these citizen journalists. Meanwhile, the real problems and agendas that are being perpetrated on people, should it be in America, or anybody else, isn't being talked about. It's not being talked about. It's just slipping on by. And as I said before, nobody is holding, the fire to freaking Trump's feet. Whereas before, they all quite happily, you know, went after Obama and all his nonsense. And now they don't. But they're not Trumpers because it's not part of the plot line. So that to me suggests that whoever is manipulating the channels behind the scene, and they're obviously getting financial gain from it. Whoever is doing this is keeping the political aspects out of it, is keeping it like a preventing the negative attention that Trump deserves for some of the policies and decisions that he's making while president. And that suggests to me there's a political motivation there. And considering these people all seem to come about at the same time with Pizzagate, and that was another thing that was an obvious political motivation. And that was kept going. And then you've got these people who come out from nowhere, who all of a sudden they're experts on radio talk shows, like MJ Victims, and or you've got another expert in Tracy Beans and Honeybee going on to Hagman and Hagman and showcasing their talents on there. And if you look at the Corsi and the nonsense that's been going on about him, I don't believe anything will really come of that either. It's all about exasperating and manipulating real life events. That's what they're doing. They're taking the slice of reality that's going on and manipulating them into part of their plot on YouTube and generating money. And it has political motive behind it as well, because it seems to all be in favor of Trump. In my mind, that's what I see. I could be wrong, but that's what I see. And these people get involved with Hagman and Hagman, who gets involved with Tom Sawyer, who is taking on pedophile networks all across America and human trafficking, etc., who ends up out in the desert doing a VOP LARP. This is not my imagination, folks. I am not just, making crazy connections like a lunatic. This crap goes on, and then occasionally you'll see Hagman and Hagman go on freaking Infowars. You're all seeing the same things I see. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to open another Discord tomorrow. This Discord name has been inspired by another viewer, a subscriber, who I'm quite fond of. And I think it's very suiting to where we all are on YouTube at this present. No, I didn't say Tom Sawyer. Maybe it sounded like Tom Sawyer. And the name of the Discord is going to be Thunderdome. And in the Thunderdome, we're going to be trying to piece together the aftermath. Anybody is welcome to join if they wish, but this one will be policed. The other ones weren't policed, and when I say policed, what I mean is I'm not going to accept people lurking in the background just to keep an eye on what Yeah, Thunderdome is appropriate. There, I agree. It was inspired by one of a nice lady on here. She is um she doesn't know what I'm doing this, by the way. But she made a comment and I seen it and I was like, okay, that's just quite appropriate. That's what I should do. I should set up a Discord and Thunderdome. But what I mean is, the last one I had the Mystery Machine going, and it was very good actually. There was no bitching, there was no nastiness, there was no bullshitting going on in the background. But what was happening was I had a lot of lurkers who weren't partaking in what the actual Discord was about, and they just sat there and watched, you know, and I became a bit uncomfortable about that. So rather than remove everybody who was lurking, because there was about freaking 20 of them, and offend people and have people go, oh, I blah, 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 and all the rest of it, I just closed it down. So I'm going to open up a new one. It's going to be called the Thunderdome. Anybody is welcome. This isn't, it isn't to try and, start an army or anything like that there, or, create a narrative or anything like that there, as people will claim. We all know what that crazy lady in Texas thinks like. So, it's basically talk about what you see and sure, because the more people involved in putting this jigsaw together, the quicker it will be done, the quicker it will come together, and the quicker we'll get to see the bigger picture. I mean, the point is about, I'm not interested. Freddy could be 100% right here, folks. Freddy could be on the right track. He's come along and he's hit up the stat, right? He's found the stat who wants to take down Cicada. And he's hitting Defango first, by the look of it, right? And this could be 100% legit. But my feeling on that is, unless the people that are involved in it are not people that would say of good character in YouTube, maybe in real life they're nice people. Maybe they're good quality people in real life. I don't know, but certainly in YouTube, a pattern is developed, and things have been seen. And once you see something, you can't unsee it, folks. So, he could be 100% on the up and up. This could be 100% legit. It could be all real information that's being put out, but unfortunately, it's being put out with people with questionable reputation. So I feel the best way to do it is to go and do it for ourselves. That way, you're not being led down a garden path. You're not being told what way to think. You're not being told who you can go and look at. And you're not being told, you know, no, basically. You're not being told no, that you can't do this and you can't do that. As some of us maybe have experienced in the past. I know I have. So I plan this Discord will be set up. I will drop a link in the next stream, which I'll do a short stream tomorrow night at around 11 p.m. UK time, and I'll put that Discord link. And for those who want to join, brilliant. If you don't, if I don't know your names, your Discord names, because I understand people have different names, etc. If you would at least send me a message so I can be aware of who you actually are. So there's no confusion that, I maybe see you sitting quiet for a week. Maybe it's because you're on holiday. I don't know, who knows. But if I know that you're a regular that comes about the place and partook and all in the mystery machine and stuff like that there, you know, I'm obviously going to be a lot different. Whereas if I don't know your name, I'm going to be like, what? Because I'm not going to be too worried about getting offended this time about kicking lurkers. So I'm not. Um, I'm not worried about offending anybody anymore. So if you just kind of make it aware if you want to join, and again, the purpose of it is to piece together what the hell's going on. You know, a bit of honest show and tell amongst us all. Because I believe if we want the answers to what the hell is going on, we'll have to go and find them for ourselves. There's no point sitting hoping that Freddy's going to come good, or when he does come good, that the information is actually legit. Or there's no point sitting waiting and hoping that some other channel out of nowhere that'll be introduced to us probably in the next few weeks is going to come out with the truth. I mean, don't be surprised if that happens, folks. A couple of new channels come along and boom, they'll be the ones that have all the answers quickly. So I feel that, I personally, my opinion is if I learn it for myself, if I do the research for myself, then I can rely on it myself because I'm not going to lie to myself, folks. And that's what I'm kind of wanting this Discord to be. That's the motive behind it. Is good people with a good way of thinking, who see and have ears like I have and have been around here, who want to try and get to the bottom of it. And I feel working together. And when I say working together, lads, I mean working together in a scale of, at least getting to the bottom. I'm not sure we'll be able to bring things to an end, but if we can get to the bottom and expose things for what they actually are, rather than just going off what everybody else has to say about it. I'm not a crowd follower, folks. I don't take people's word as gospel. I've learned that the hard way in life. There's one of my favorites there has come in. So that's where I'm going with that. And I feel we should start up our own independent citizen journalist network, as they say, to investigate the current citizen journalism network. So, well, that's it. I mean, the more you're right, sure the facts, cut out all the bullshit and share what we know is actual factual truth. Or the factual falseness. Factual lies work too. you know. I know, Draymond. China he likes to watch my stuff. He likes to keep an eye on me, make sure I'm not he doesn't have to send the sheriff round to me. Because I was hoping to be a sheriff one day, so I was, but it didn't work out. I never got to be a sheriff. But listen, Sippy Cop Betty, she's now the sheriff of YouTube. So she is. She's given herself that title. China has lost it. He is giving it up by the look of it. He doesn't. He's not interested. He's going after the big guys. So that's my aim, folks. I'm setting up a Discord, and I want real people to come together and be involved. I don't want it to be a sideshow. Bullshit will not be tolerated. And the fact of, calling people freaking, just the ridiculousness, that's what I'm talking about. I have no interest in getting caught up in people's games of, well, I don't like him, so you can't watch him, or you made a comment on this person's channel, so we can't trust you, and all that shit. I have no interest in any of that. The only thing I have interest in is what's going on at the bottom of this. Now, it's highly unlikely, but just in case they are listening, I did have contact with a person who I will remain nameless and talk to, would never, bring them up again. I'm hoping that person will contact me again if they're listening. If not, oh well. So that's kind of where I am with all this. There could be something real with this Lestat crap, or it could just be another trend on LARP. And by the way it's being dropped, it looks to me like a LARP. If any of you, I just want to ask a question quickly, and just press 1 if this is what you would do. You find out somebody that you've worked with in YouTube is, involved in child porn. Would you call the police? If you would, press 1, or would you make videos about it on YouTube and pass them out? If that's what you would do, press 2. Just give me an idea. Very good, really. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad to see that people would hit 1 instead of 2. But, and that's why the stat thing stinks with me, even if he's being on the up and it's 100% true. That's why it stinks for me. That's why I just, no chance. And, I know there's quite a few people in here are, have worked out a lot of stuff for themselves, by themselves, and I would like just to try and pull a few, pull people like Eller into try and freaking piece together what we all actually know. It's easier to do that in the Discord than it is on somebody's hangout. And then see, whenever I do my hangouts and live stream, everybody gets to watch too. They get to know what your way of thinking is and what you're doing, etc. So, I also understand some people just will not want to be part of it, and I'm fine with that too. That's okay. I have nothing to, don't. That's cool. I don't mind. But I feel people should actually start working together and go in the right direction. There's a lot of arseholes on this network that I haven't even talked about tonight, and they are on this platform doing the most heinous things with crazy allegations, all just sickening, and it's allowed to happen. And the suggestion that I understand, or I was picking up from things, is that they've got somebody inside that works in YouTube that's protecting them. I don't know how many people who reported, not as a copyright strike, but reported a fully sourced video about that the stuff video. I don't know how many people reported that video, but I know a lot of people did, and it's still up to this day. I reported it. You know, it's still up, and I can't understand if how any YouTube employee would look at that video and say, "Well, that's appropriate." So figure that out. Winter is here, folks. A LARP is brewing. Money will be made. I mean, they need their Christmas money, right? Their Christmas bonus. And yeah. So I think people in here think like I think, to a degree. Laz, if you're still here, you had a question you said you wanted to ask me. What was that question? Has Laz gone? Hey, Rennie. Raver. Rebel. Another one just coming in. Yeah, another thing is that, no, have a look and see what hashtags are trending. You see, one of the things for those people that have just come in, Rennie and whatnot, I'm going to be starting up another Discord, and it's going to be called Thunderdome, with its purpose to people of like minds, share what information they have found on this nonsense going on. And try and make sense of it all. Because I think at the minute, the thing about have more than one person talk about it or going over it is, we all see things just that little bit differently. It's that kaleidoscope of truth that I talk about. We all see things just that little bit different, and somebody seeing something that I don't see or somebody else doesn't see can make a huge difference. Make a huge difference. And the more people sharing and looking into this, the better. And if we do it for ourselves, then nobody can turn around and say it's a controlled narrative bullshit and all that nonsense. So I'll be dropping a link to that tomorrow night around 11 p.m. UK time. And so yeah, I don't have Twitter either. So if anybody does have Twitter and they're able to, they're wanting to join the Discord and they're able to, share screenshots or anything like that there of what's going on for record, please do. As I said, the last Discord went actually. It was pretty good. It went down well within with the people that were there. I just had a bit of a problem with all the lurkers, and then especially whenever things were going a bit sour on me with how some people were behaving with me. Maybe you could say I got a little bit paranoid, but there were so many. There was like 20. Why would 20 people just want to sit and lurk just because they can? I don't know. Yeah, I don't use Facebook or Twitter either, Rebel, so I don't. For that very reason, I have no interest in them. I did open an account on Twitter, or not Twitter, on Facebook years ago whenever it first started out, because I was working in an office environment at the time, and just sharing a few things back and forth, but I stopped using it more than a decade ago. I just done away with it. Well, that's it, Danny. You've knocked a wee nail on the head, and I felt the same way. And that's what I kind of find a little bit frightening about what FKN Freddy does on YouTube when he goes around collecting people. You're kind of joined to him in like a truthful moment or whatever, and then you find out that you're being used, and it could be used against you, and it's a bit heartbreaking. Not heartbreaking. Heartbreaking's the wrong word, but it's a bit discerning when all of a sudden the tide turns against you, and you had faith in these people. Yes, seeking truth. Freddy, FKN Freddy, is the bone collector, people collector, I call. He goes around collecting people from different streams, from different parts of YouTube, gleans the information that he needs, maybe earns their confidence, shares a bit of this and that with them, and whatnot. That's my feeling on the matter. That's my opinion. That's what I think. And there's somebody who kind of got involved with these guys over a certain subject. I feel I'm kind of justified in making the assumptions that I've made. What I've experienced firsthand and what I've started to witness. And the crazy thing is, folks, that whenever if you take on board what I say, right, I'm not saying you have to believe me. All I'm just saying is you take on board what I've said and you take a step back and you take yourself out of that connection that because everybody has like a friend connection, emotional connection. You've maybe known some of these channels or people a long time, seen them about YouTube a long time or whatnot. If you can stand back away from that connection and sit on the fence, if you can genuinely sit on the fence, you will start to see things that you didn't see before, and it will blow your own damn mind. never mind anybody else's. I'm telling you, because that's one of my strongest points in life. I can sit in the fence. I can look at both sides, no problem. I can see positives on both sides, negatives on both sides, all that stuff. And I tell you now, if you're able to sit in the fence, your mind will be blown. And I can admit that when I got involved in this whole out and net for truth and the whole gunk thing, that I stopped sitting on the fence. I became a little bit self-righteous because, how could you not when you're talking about such subjects, you know? So, and I kind of betrayed my own self in favor of the collective. I won't make that mistake again. And that's what I would advise anybody and everybody to do. And instead of looking where this all started, start from here and start working your way back. And I'm telling you now, it all starts to make sense. Well, Renee, that's kind of what I'm kind of hoping if we can, have like a platform to some degree to share the experiences and what we've seen and witnessed with these people. Because leopards don't change their spots, folks. You know, they just come up with different ways, and that's what happens with most of these channels and all these clever people. Is they forget what to say, and they get caught up in things, and they start believing their own crap. And before you know it, people like us open our eyes and wake up to it and start going, here, hold on a wee minute. So that's the intent. That's my intention. Well, that's it, lady. I'm not going to say that I wasn't, that I was manipulated. What I'm going to say is the subject matter was one of such that it, there's an instant, it's an instant, black and white. It's an instant right or wrong. You don't have to debate it. There's no gray area. There's no nothing. It's all instant. There's no discerning to be involved. So when that subject was up there of, the net for truth and all the rest of what he's convicted of and all that shit, you're not going to start questioning things the way we have done over other things. Do you know what I mean? So I let my guard down, you know. But here on the plus side of all that there, listen to tell you, see on the plus side of all that there, I met a lot of good people too. I was getting a lot of really good comments, and I got to really see that there was a lot more smarter, people out there than me that were realizing and open about all this, but they maybe didn't do channels or things like that there, or maybe weren't interested in anything like that there. And I kind of feel that maybe those type of people that I've seen about, if we could get them, kind of sharing in the Discord, it would be very beneficial to everything, because I find it beneficial. I find what they had to say beneficial. It worked for me, on the in some ways or another. Like, so it's had its positives. It certainly has, and it has its negatives. Because there is a lot of good people in here. There is a lot of good people out there that are maybe not. They maybe are a wee bit more alone or annihilated, but their thinking is along the same way as ours. And the more people that you can find, excuse me, the more people that you can find like that, the better off. You know. So, and all I would say, if you're questioning anything that I'm involved with, make this your starting point and work back. Sit in the fence, and I believe you'll start waking up. Just on a wee note, I do think OG's starting to wake up. I think what happened last night with OG was the best thing that could have possibly happened for OG. And while it may not be all instantaneous, I do think he's still starting to dot a few I's and cross a few T's. And maybe in the future, I don't expect him to come back round, to turn around and say, "Hey, Scoob, you were right." But I reckon we'll start to see OG distance himself from that group of people. We'll see, I hope he does, because I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's got caught up with the wrong people who, as we all know, it's hard to admit sometimes that you've been duped, that you've been sucker punched, and especially when we all hold ourselves with such high regard as how well we can discern and things like that. There, we're not gods, folks. We make mistakes. And it doesn't matter how much experience or how much your training you've had, anything like that there in life that you've come across. The reality is nobody's perfect. You can make mistakes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing it in the future. That's just a wee side note. Is anybody any questions? Does anybody anybody have anything to ask? Anybody want to ask anything about what I've been talking about, or? Rebel, I get your meaning behind all that, but realistically, YouTube, and I started to say this a wee bit. YouTube is YouTube, and trying to get who's the top truther. Fucking hell, who's telling the truth? Who's the top truther? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I couldn't. I couldn't put anything in that. I wouldn't even class myself as a truther or sharing truth. All I'm doing is kind of trying to show what I've seen and share my opinion with like-minded people in the hope that somebody else will have a part of the jigsaw piece that fits into mine and will then create a bigger picture of what the hell's actually going on. But as far as the top truther on YouTube, I think we all know it's Richie from Boston, don't we? Good old Richie's probably the top guy. Quickly followed by your uprising guy, I would say. He's another top truther. I mean, if you were to go around these crazy channels that have hundreds of thousands of viewers, and you look at some of the shit that they're coming off with, and people are donating money hand over fist. Yeah, but just a stare. Yeah, well, it's not. You know, Rebel. Do you know what I do, Rebel? In real life, and kind of on YouTube as well. I kind of try and treat people the way I want to be treated. And if people kind of, if people are treating me the way that I treat them, then I'm over the moon. Even if there are arseholes, I'd be over the moon, you know. And yes, friendly, show the evidence. That's why I'm going to start making videos again soon, so that I'm not just sitting here talking on the stream, sharing opinion. That I am actually putting a video out there to back up what I'm talking about. Now, I have had a few allegations thrown at me recently, and I have knocked them out of the park. And still those videos remain up, but that's how it is. So, well, you should be honored, Ronnie, that you've got the top truther of YouTube close by. You're not a plant, are you? Richie from Boston hasn't put you in here, has he? Scooby, how do we know you're not part of the LARP Wars 2018 project? You're going to have to work that out for yourself. I could tell you 1,000 times I'm not, and you won't believe it. And I could tell you once that I am, and you will. And one of the things I've always said, LARP, actions speak louder than words. So when you start seeing my actions, you can judge me off those. And if you think I'm still a LARP or think that I am part of the project or whatever, you know, I know I'm not a very good liar, and I'll tell you why. Um, I was raised by a schizophrenic mother who would never accept the truth. So, you know, you would get accused of lying anyway. So it ended up, I've got this thing where if I'm telling you the truth, you'll probably see me smiling. And if I was telling you a little white lie, I'd be smiling too. And you know what they say? When Irish eyes are smiling. Well, tell me this, Lark Busters, why do you use twiff circus? Why do you use the word twiff? I mean, if you're not China the Three, why are you using the word twiff? Here's an interesting, before I go here, here's an interesting thing. Now, just happened to see people mention Jamie Deluxe there in the chat. I don't really know Jamie Deluxe that well, but from the small stuff that I have seen, I am questionable of him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or he's a hateful guy or anything like that there. But he made a video, he put a video out earlier on about Tumblr and the child porn. Now, it wasn't a conspiracy fit or anything like that there. He was just putting the news out that Tumblr has been taken down from the App Store because of child porn being found on their app. People are, using it to transmit this crap. And that brings me back to another idiot called Fully Sourced, who got caught out telling one of his subs not to report child porn that was being found on Tumblr itself at the time. He told him, don't investigate. We're investigating, as in the Fully Sourced crew. Now, that I immediately, I was screen recording it and I immediately put it up on YouTube. And within 10, 15 minutes, he had ended the stream. One of his mods acknowledged that I put a video up, though she wouldn't name me. And that was acknowledged, and within 15 minutes, we were introduced to the snuff video. The child that was involved in that was pulled out of the hat. It wasn't the kid that they were talking about at the start, of which I recorded it. And that was the video that he hit with a copyright strike. He didn't hit the other two because the other two went with the snuff video. But the first one showed it was nothing to do with that kid. That the actual content was about child porn being viewed on Tumblr. And the lady came into his chat wanting advice on who to report it to, and he told her, don't report it. We're investigating it. And that is why that friggin' snuff video was put up after it, because I had caught him out and I put it up straight away, and they acknowledged it. One of his moderators acknowledged that I had caught it out and had put it up and were disgusted by me. So the other two didn't really bear much of a problem for him. It was the first one that he hit with a copyright strike that everybody says I took down and sold out so I could live stream. And when I went and looked at the rules in it and explained to people, I got a copyright strike on a video according to the guidelines and rules of YouTube and their copyright strikes, that still allowed me to live stream. Now, if I had had a copyright strike, if that had been a live stream and I got a copyright strike against it, I would have lost the ability to live stream. And it's all there. People go and look for themselves. All there. It's on the YouTube copyright guidelines page. It's there what the penalties are and how you get them. Yet it was said that I sold out because I took 2 videos down and I was able to live stream 2 days later. I was always able to live stream. In fact, it was an oversight on my part because I, like everybody else, assumed when you got a copyright strike, you couldn't live stream because I had heard the whole narrative that was pushed before about, oh, yeah, this person got a copyright strike, but here they can still live stream. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, they're guilty of something. And then that was put out against me, and it blew it out of the water and showed what it was. Yes, USA Net for Truth is still on YouTube, and he's bigger than Frick. I think he's almost. I think he's like 11,000 subs almost, and he you can get a book with his signature on it for $100 US. He also sponsors kids in Vietnam, etc. He says that. I believe he's been over there. I believe that too, Jersey. I believe he buys the subs. You see, it was crazy because the weekend that Sippy Cup went after Net for Truth with a phone call, that she then retracted everything that she said about him. She retracted everything that she said about him and said he was a good guy, that he wasn't guilty of this, blah blah blah. He gained like 4,000 subs that weekend. He's Danny. Net for Truth is a level 2 in New Jersey state, and he's a level 3 in New York state, because different states have different rules on what's a level 3 and what's a level 2. That's my understanding of it, of reading it. Now, we had a few months ago, a month and a half ago maybe, on Wake Now stream, when I was on it, I'd said to everybody in the stream, now, look, it's time. You live in America. Phone these places up and find out what's going on. And people did. And I had the mystery machine in, and they came into the mystery machine and they shared what they found out. And that's how I know for sure 100%. Because when people started looking at Net for Truth, there became a little bit of confusion because they were saying level 2 some places and then level 3. Well, it turned out that both states tried him because he committed this across 2 states, and so. Sorry, I was just reading Jamon's comment there. Oh, shit, my battery's running low. Ooh, better get the charger on. You see, that was one of the things that I know was good about it, about having the Discord, was because, we did talk about this and we did put the word out and ask people, if you can and you're willing, contact the authorities. And they did, and they got back to us and they let us know And that happened through the Discord. You know, people they shared what they found out on the Discord, and that cleared a lot of grey areas up for people, which can only be a good thing in my mind. Seeking truth. Well, this is it. I don't know, but as I said, you know, she phone. You know, gives him her phone number. He gets her phone number, and then they have argy bargy, and then he's on his way to the police station. He's just outside the police station, and she calls him back. You know, and he's just about to go in and make his complaint about her, but she calls up in the nick of time, and you know they have this conversation, and she changes her whole way of thinking on him, says he's a good guy. And apparently, while she was doing this, everybody who was watching in the live stream was supposed to be able to, you know, discern that she was only messing about, that she was actually fearful for her life. Which she says, right, okay, I'll quickly explain this. She gives the phone number. They have argy bargy, right? Then the two of them make up and become friends, and he gets all sympathetic about abuse that she says that she experienced as a child, right? He's all sympathetic about that there, and then they become friendly and go their own ways. Now that was the end of the stream, or the end of whatever it was, the end of the time. And the next day, whenever she went live again, she got everything but the bus thrown at her because she had turned around and was agreeing with this guy and was saying all these nice things about him, etc., and falling for his bullshit, right? And her people were not having it. So then she came out and, oh, I was scared, I was feared. And the next thing we had a YouTube channel appear called Troll Doxer, who claimed to dox her with information that they had, but the dox was false. They then came out a second time with more information with another dox, and that dox was false. And then they come out a third time with information about a dox, and that was false. And the reason why I know it's false is because myself and another had independently went away without either knowing what the other was doing, and found her through Google Maps, right? Because she doxed herself basically in one of her videos by telling us that there was. It was very simple to do. I'll tell you how I did it. She doxed herself by showing a picture to everybody of a Freemasons lodge that was next door to her, right? We knew she was in Missouri because she told everybody that. And whenever whenever I hit Google Maps, all I had to do was hit Masonic Lodge in Missouri and hit the satellite view. I think there was about maybe 20 lodges that came up, and I just went round them until I found the one that fitted the picture, and that's how I got her. And then the rest was easy to work out from there. I found the Masonic Lodge Facebook page. The guys aren't even there anymore. One of their last meetings was in a freaking a pizza freaking restaurant, and coincidentally, just as we found this out, or we now nobody doxed her, by the way. Myself and this other person never doxed her. I had no intention of. But it meant whenever I looked at the troll doxer video, I knew it was a false docs. And I confronted Sippy Cop with this. I said to her, why is he putting up false doxes? You know it's false. And she was acting like it was the real deal, and it wasn't. And she wouldn't reply to me, you know. So that happened at a weekend. He got 4,000 subs, and she got a few subs as well, but not that many, to be honest with you. She already had her 4,000 subs before that. And the whole thing just looks skeptical. I mean, maybe she was 100% legit. I don't know. But I mean, why would you, if you were going to phone up a guy, because I pointed this out last night, she phoned up the police to give a report about Netflix, right? And she gave a wrong number. She gave the cops the wrong name and wrong number. So you tell me, what the hell are they playing at? Is it a real thing or is it a bad, is it a lark that they're playing? I don't know. I can't be 100% sure. I don't think you ever can be unless your boots on the ground there. You know, that's the hard thing about over the internet. You'll never be 100% sure. But all I know is she monetizes all these videos and stuff. She monetized OG's video, and and he had every right to be outraged for that. But that's what dragged everybody else in. That's what I'd never heard of her before, and a lot of other people had never heard of her until she monetized OG's work about the freaking uh, net for truth, etc. And if OG didn't monetize it for obvious reasons, why should anybody else? She also claimed that she discovered this herself. She broke this story herself, that she was the first to break this and all the rest of it. And she was like 2 months off the pace. And it's not like now, it's not because anybody was trying to say, well, we're the big YouTube writers or anything like that. There, it was a matter of why are you telling these people that you're doing stuff you're not. You know, and I confronted her about that there, and she said, "Oh, I didn't say that," but it was there in one of her videos. I saw it, and then I knew, okay, she's lying to me. So, you know, the whole thing that she talks about, Dave T and all the rest of it, I told her all this in one of her live streams. I give her flipping all the information about freaking. Now she claims that she claims this guy's killed another. He found somebody else named Dave Todeschini with his name, and he killed him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. There's something freaking. She appears out of nowhere, and she actually is a channel that's quite open of telling everybody who she's going around and striking, just striking everybody, just hitting people with copyright strikes, privacy strikes, all the rest of it. Like, and I feel that she's quite open with it. And if you're going to be in this part of YouTube and the whole conspiracy thing, and you're open about going around, um, you know, doing a copyright strike because, she did a copyright strike against Freddy and it was wrong. Even though what I think of Freddy, what she done was wrong. The guy made a video. By the way, just what happened also when we find when me and this other person worked out where she lived. Now again, weren't working together or anything there. That was independent. I didn't even realize she was doing what she was doing. But after that came out about her, realized that where she was claiming she wasn't. Um, all of a sudden, she decided that she was going to, if she was going to break free of her being. I can't think of the word. Sorry, folks. Sorry. She was in hiding for over a year because Illuminati was after her, but it just so happened when we all started to work out where she was and that Illuminati place next door to her, she decided that weekend that, well, I'm not going to stay in hiding anymore, and she went and had a party, and all the people in the town provided a band for her. You know, to go down the local pub, and I had a band and I had a party because she was coming out of hiding. This is the crap she says. Oh, how did I get talking about her? Oh dear, dear, dear. Funny. I mean, in all honesty, I find the lady very entertaining. I mean, I do genuinely laugh my ass off watching her. She's funny as hell, but she's not meaning to be funny. You know. I've had people come in before, Renee, and say that they found their new family and stuff, and then the next thing they're back in there. One of them was that girl, Christian girl, can't remember her name, but she's a mod now for Betty. You know, and Betty was having a go at her because maybe she talk about her faith. Now Betty is of the same faith, allegedly. And whenever Betty talked about it, it was okay. But if this other person brought it up, Betty would lose her mind over it. She was really starting to get annoyed with her. And I kind of stuck up for her about that. But, she went away and, she talked crap about me behind my back, thinking, people don't see this, but I saw it. So I've had people before from Betty's stream come in and say that, Betty's done this and Betty's done that. Time tells. That's all you can do. Time tells. Sometimes you find out in a few days. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes longer. Sometimes you never find out. But then again, it doesn't really matter if you know or not. In some cases. Well, this is the thing. They're going around and threatening everybody with doxing them. Her and Ons are threatening people with doxes. It's like, what are you doing? This is illegal behavior. It's actually illegal to do what they're doing, but they're threatening people with this. So I don't get it. The whole thing. And then one of her friends that she used to work with used to do like a co-host a show with her. This guy's into the whole wrestling promotion thing. Like, is that an issue? Is that got something to do with it? Like, I don't know. So I certainly don't go to Sippy Cup looking for truth or looking for facts. When I watch Sippy Cup, I know I'm going to have a laugh, and that's it. And then I 99% of the time I do have a laugh because when you mix alcohol, drugs with an alleged brain injury, you're, you're going to get a mess, and it's going to be funny. You know, it, that's all I can say. She can be amusing, but she's certainly not here to help anybody or benefit anybody. She's now going after the traffickers in the UK, apparently. But who cares? But I do think there's something stinks about that whole episode between her and Dave T. I'm not saying that it was set up to look that way, and I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying there's something seriously stinking about it. And the fact that that guy gained 4,000 subs, should that only have been done in order for him to go and buy the subs at that moment, whenever it was supposedly gaining traction, that story? You know what I mean? I don't know, but it does stink. Yeah, well, um, I don't believe she's working alone anyway. There is people a lot smarter than her, I believe, working behind the scenes. That she's really just there. Dare I say it, a pretty face. She's gonna be the new honeybee, I think. Except she's gonna be a bit more aggressive in how she does things. Whereas, I mean, she does it. She's doing the exact same thing Honeybee is doing. Honeybee told us that she does background checks on all her channels. Well, that's what accommodating doxing people and getting their information. How do you think they're doing it? They're looking. They're look. That's why. That's why I don't have Facebook and freaking all these other social media accounts. I was thinking about opening up a Twitter, just so I could follow things on there. But it would be different because I'd be in control of the situation. But if I had a history of being on Twitter for the last 10 years or something like that, there, I mean, and these people were able to find out. They'd be sitting trolling through 10 years of your Twitter trying to find somebody. So trying to find something to stick on you or something. So I, I don't have them. I don't use them, and it gives them less of a chance to try and stick a knife in. So it's a very how would I put it? The likes of Sippy Cup and the lady down there, Truth Convoy. These two channels are very distracting, and when you've got channels like that about, it's it's very handy for other people whenever they're putting information out too. That you've got channels like Sippy Cup that'll sensationalize nonsense and tell people anything. I mean, that's where the whole they're doing the whole what do you call it? JFK Jr. still alive scenario at the minute. And it's like, what on earth? But it just thinks it's a bit of a distraction for people who maybe they are awake. It's like you see how quickly you can get over this distraction and start concentrating on what's really going on. That's what I kind of think what these channels are. And they're obviously here. Well, Sippy certainly is here to make money. So, and they keep people like us occupied. That's why you think about this. You've got a channel like Truth Convoy that's going around and putting all these names in the hat with all these crazy accusations, and she does a live stream every day. She does a live stream every day there for like half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour sometime. Yeah, my cat was powering her. I've kicked her down. And she's then taking names out of a hat and just putting them in there. It you know, at one stage, I was like watching everything she did, and that was occupying my mind. That was keeping me distracted. And I'll be honest with you, if she was talking about me in regards any other type of art, I wouldn't have been interested. But it's because that they put you in, you know, they talk about such a heinous subject, and they pull your name out of a hat to talk about it and try and associate you with it, that you end up getting distracted and consumed. That's kind of what happened with me. And then I felt, okay, I have to make a rebuttal here. I did two videos, one for myself and to show here's what I see, and I did a second video to show what somebody else was seeing and how Truth Convoy was attacking her. And I got hell for that because it went against, you know, it went against the narrative that other channels were pushing at that time. One of those channels was China the Three. It went against his narrative. So well, you work it out. You know, you saw for yourself. Some of you saw that happen yourselves, and what was going on and what was happening. So, you know, I, um, so it keeps you all distracted. It keeps you tied up in their nonsense, and you know, it keeps you kind of annoyed. You know, it keeps you a bit angry that this crap is allowed to go on. I mean, I reported stuff. You know, I have no problem saying that I reported freaking Truth Convoy. Of course I did. Things she was saying about me and other people at the time, not just me. You know, she was making claims about other people that I was associated with at that time, and I stuck up for those people. So, you know, you report, but their stuff never comes down. It stays up. So, you know, you gotta ask yourself. Yes, Rebel, you're quite right there. Addiction rage is real. It is real, you know. Yet Israel isn't. that was a that was an attempt of humor there, folks. Um, so once I stopped kind of concentrating on that there, and you know, once I finally got out what I wanted to say, I just dropped it. Every now and then, every now and again, I'll pop in just to you know, let her know that I'm still around. But I certainly don't follow like I did. No way. So it'll be interesting to see how this next. See, you won't believe how much this happening with me or my grievance, right? With Freddy, etc., doing all that there, with me doing that there, and then there's people have started to see as well who were saying before I even heard my grievance, right? And now that you know, kind of okay, I've heard my grievance, and they've seen what they've seen, and this couldn't have come at a worse time for this whole Lestat FKN Freddy taking down YouTube. Uh, it couldn't have come at a worse time for them because if they're not on the up and up, it's going to be busted pretty quick, and it'll, you know, people in here are smart enough to work it out. But if you get, if you give these people that are in here a platform to do it on, they will do it. And I'm the timing has been really bad for them, but I think it's going to benefit us in the long run. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, Facebook is crazy anyway. I can remember years ago, I was going with a lady, like, and she used Facebook all the time. I mean, she was one of these ones doing, selfies and all that, and it didn't last long because it put me off her, to be honest. But she used Facebook, and she showed me, she had, like, at the time, she had like 400 odd friends and all that. I'm like, do you know all these people? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Is what, you know them? You know them in real life, do you? You've met them before? Oh, well, no, I don't know them that way, but I mean, I know them. And I'm like, okay, sure, of course you do. Yeah, that's it all. That's all I would advise people to do. But my circle of friends is very small, and my circle of family is even smaller. So I have no need for Facebook. I have nobody to keep in touch with in that way. That sounds really sad, but it's not sad. I don't find it sad at all. I'm happy enough. Yeah, we will all make mistakes, Renee, Francis, all of us will all continue to make mistakes. That's life. You know, I've seen plenty of 60-year-olds make mistakes. I mean, Freddy's what, 50? Look at the mistakes he's making. It happens. We all make mistakes. It's how you handle those mistakes that's important. Are you able to recognize that they're mistakes in the first place, that you have screwed up? And then do you address it so you don't, you know? Well, I've got one sibling that I haven't talked with and or seen in like decades worth talking about. My mum, and that's it. That's all I have. No aunties, no uncles, no nothing, no cousins, no anything. It's quite sad because I'm the last in a bloodline that goes back quite a long, long way, centuries, like freaking very long time. But there you go. Nothing lasts forever, folks. No, I'm not sorry to hear that, lady. It's all right. It's all cool. Uh, I never needed anybody. I've got where I got on my own. It may not be at the top, but I'm not at the bottom either. And I'm happy enough for that, folks. I don't need to be at the top as long as I'm not at the bottom. But as I said before, I have met some good people here. I've got talking to some good people here, and that's a bonus. So it is for me. But I will tell you one thing I do kind of regret. here's a wee regret I have about life, and a lot of people always say I don't have regrets, but I kind of do have one. That's a big one, and that is I relied on my own gut too much instead of, uh, you know, paying attention to my peers' experience and what they had to say. Like, back if you go back to, the American Indians, back to the time before the white man and all that stuff. Oh God, where's my phone? Folks, that's my mother. Give me 2 seconds. If I don't come back, I apologize. I'll say goodnight here. But if I do, hang on. Hello? Sorry, what's wrong? What's at the table? No, just fully cut. Keep none of it, and we'll put a report in. But it's 1:45,